What's up, guys? So today I'm actually going to be covering Super Dragon Ball Heroes, which I don't do very often, but this particular episode is definitely worth covering. This is essentially the equivalent of the Tournament of Power in Super Dragon Ball Heroes, where instead of it being the multiverse in terms of there being 12 different universes, it's the multiverse in the sense of like time travel, right? So this episode in particular had some really ridiculously cool symbolism, and it also has Ultra Instinct Goku versus Super Saiyan 4 Limits Broken Goku. So I definitely think it's worth talking about, and there's just some cool developments that happen in this last episode, and there's some cool stuff that happens in the manga that I'm going to talk about as a bonus towards the end of the video because I just think it's worth talking about. But there's just all kinds of really cool stuff to talk about in this episode, so let's just jump straight into it. I just find it really cool that Bardock, Goku, and Gohan, especially this version of Bardock and Gohan, and Goku are all working together to take down a demon-themed character because it has that same feel of Sun Wukong taking down his inner demons through facing another demon, which I just thought was really cool. That's just a cool little thing that I noticed. I'm actually kind of burnt out on Demigral at this point. I've always thought he was a really cool character, but I'm so glad to see him go. I can't stress that enough. I just think Super Dragon Ball Heroes needs to move on from Demigral, so I was very happy to see him go. And you also got to consider that Demigral, he is a literal representation of the negative character traits of the Saiyans, except instead of wanting to rule space, he wants to rule all of time. So he is very Saiyan in his own way, in his motives and his character traits, and he is a representation of the negative character traits of the Saiyans themselves in the sense that he wants to be a ruler and a conqueror, much like Frieza and a lot of other characters who are there to purposely reflect who the Saiyans are. Demigral represents that pretty good here, and to see Goku, Bardock, and Gohan work together to take him out was a treat. It was cool. So Eos ends up making her case as to why there shouldn't be more than one space-time because it creates threats. It essentially creates more enemies that could rise up to, even more dangerous than Demigral to endanger the multiverse. And so she sort of makes her argument for why there shouldn't be multiple timelines. And Cronulla makes her argument that this also gives us the opportunity to create more heroes, more symbols of hope, and that she has faith in mortals rather than assuming that the multiverse is going to produce evil mortals. She, in comparison to Eos, has faith in mortals. So it's a very similar comparison to like Zamasu and other Kaioshin, except in this case, Eos actually sees merit in what Cronulla is trying to say. She ends up working with Cronulla to help Goku and Bardock and Gohan take down Demigral. So Goku's influence, of course, has a huge impact on this whole thing as well, because the type of people that Cronulla was talking about are essentially Goku, Bardock, and Gohan in that moment. So much like in my Goku the Ego Destroy video, where I established that the main point of that arc is to essentially express the Goku effect throughout the multiverse and have Goku affect the entire multiverse. It's very clear, like I said at the beginning of this video, that this is also Heroes' equivalent of the Tournament of Power, and you can see at the end of this arc, after they defeat Demigral, that Goku has his classic effect on all of the characters who are present from different space times, like Bardock, Gohan, even Cumber, Hearts. You can sort of see, especially Eos. She talks about how Goku had his classic effect on Zeno, and of course the entire multiverse in the Tournament of Power, how he is now having that effect on her. So the end of the arc has a very strong Tournament of Power feel because it's all about the Goku effect. It's all about how Goku has affected everybody through different space times. But the big selling point, of course, the biggest and most amazing thing, the thing that I was looking forward to talking about the most in this video, is Super Saiyan 4 Limits Broken Goku versus Ultra Instinct Goku. Now, this is by far probably my favorite fight that Heroes has ever done because it's just so well done. It's a very short fight. It's short but sweet. I really like how the fight played out because it starts off with a very like Jiren versus Goku feel. But instead of it being like in the Tournament of Power where Jiren had the upper hand and he was like using that wall of fists and Goku was having to like work his way through him, Ultra Instinct Omen is the one that's using like the wall of fists, and Super Saiyan 4 Goku is the one that's like kind of having trouble facing off against Ultra Instinct Omen Goku. Now there is this one really cool part where Goku uses his tail to like grab Ultra Instinct Omen Goku, but before Super Saiyan 4 Goku can react, he's hit with a few blows from Ultra Instinct Omen Goku because he's that fast. He hit him before he could even realize that he was hitting him. And so they're essentially trying to communicate that Ultra Instinct Omen Goku, Capsule Corp Goku, is comparable to Super Saiyan 4 Limits Broken Goku, Zeno Goku. And that's essentially the scaling here because the fight is very close. Now, Ultra Instinct Omen Goku had the upper hand a little bit, but they were pretty well close to each other. Super Saiyan 4 Goku held in there. Like, he was very fast. It didn't seem like the fight was one-sided until Goku goes into the actual Ultra Instinct transformation. Now when Goku goes into the actual Ultra Instinct transformation, This is such a masterfully well done scene, and it has some very deep context that I want to get into, because if you know anything about martial arts or the lore behind a lot of martial arts or Journey to the West itself, you'll know that Journey to the West itself is about taming the monkey mind, which also translates to martial arts. The monkey mind is also a representation of something that you have to tame as a martial artist in order to be a master martial artist, and the monkey mind itself just so happens to be associated with what Goku has to calm. The monkey mind, which is responsible for your thoughts and jumping from one thought to the other, is what prevents Goku from using Ultra Instinct correctly. So when Goku taps into Mastered Ultra Instinct as he's fighting Super Saiyan 4 Limits Broken Goku, the fact that he is facing a character who embraced his inner great ape, his monkey mind essentially, and is using that to fuel himself in combat, and the way that Goku defeats him is through essentially calming the mind and mastering Ultra Instinct, which is about essentially preventing thoughts from interfering with your body's ability to move. It's just such a ridiculously cool concept, because in that moment, Goku is a literal representation of the concept of martial arts, because he is in real time doing what you're supposed to, what you are successfully supposed to perfect in order to be a master martial artist. He's doing it not only literally, but metaphorically in front of our eyes through defeating Super Saiyan 4 Goku. And Ultra Instinct has always been a representation of Goku's nature as an Earthling, and Super Saiyan 4 has always been a representation of his nature as a Saiyan, and Goku has to conquer his nature as a Saiyan in order to correctly use Ultra Instinct, which is why he's Earthling dominated whenever he's in his Ultra Instinct state. So it's also a really cool fight in that way. It has so many different layers to it because of how connected Journey to the West is to martial arts, how connected martial arts is to psychology, and, you know, correctly implementing the concepts that are implemented in Dragon Ball, no-mindedness. Just covers so many different things. It covers psychology, martial arts, mythology. It's just like there's so much cool metaphorical meaning behind the fight between Goku and Super Saiyan 4 Limits Broken. Also, all of the interactions between the characters as the episode is ending, like Trunks and Gohan talking, that was really cool. And then Gohan and the evil Piccolo meeting, that was really cool. One of my favorites was Bardock saying that he's going to beat Kakarot in the future, because that's essentially showing you that Goku has had his Goku effect on Bardock. Bardock has become more like Goku because of Goku, which is extremely interesting. But like, the whole entire episode is just a treat, for a Super Dragon Ball Heroes animated episode. I don't enjoy all of them, but this one particularly was really enjoyable. It was a great finale to the space-time tournament saga of Super Dragon Ball Heroes. I really enjoyed it. And I would highly recommend seeing the fight between Ultra Instinct Goku and Super Saiyan 4 Zeno Goku Limits Broken. It was very, very enjoyable. There is a few things I would like to mention about the manga. A few honorable mentions from the manga, because there's just some cool things that happen in the manga that you don't get to see in the animated portion, because of course they're focusing on fight mainly between Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Ultra Instinct Goku, because that's where their they only have a limited amount of resources, and that's where their resources went. But I do want to talk about a few things that happen in the manga, because there is cool things that happen in the Super Dragon Ball Hero manga sometimes, just like really cool, subtle nods at like things in Dragon Ball that I just really, really enjoy. And there's a few particular things that happened in the last chapter that I really wanted to talk about. So one particular thing that I really wanted to talk about was Frieza trying to recruit Cumber, because Frieza actually tries to recruit Cumber, and he actually calls him Mr. Evil Saiyan. And Cumber ignores him, because of course Cumber heard him talk so much smack about the Saiyans previously, and Cumber has an innate sense of Saiyan pride himself. But this is also like a cool cheeky nod at whenever Broly ignored Frieza on his ship in Dragon Ball Super Broly. And if you want to go even deeper, it represents character growth on the side of Cumber, because Cumber is a representation of the evil Saiyans who eventually gave in to working for Frieza and losing their pride as a Saiyan. So essentially, like, Cumber has maintained his pride as a Saiyan, and due to running into Goku and Vegeta, he's got a better understanding of what Saiyan pride actually is, because if you watched or consumed any of the stuff with Cumber previously, you'll understand that like his character development is centered around learning what Saiyan pride actually is. So this was a great way to end off his character, because this is essentially him being like, I have a great understanding of Saiyan pride. This represents like character development for Cumber. Cumber had a very, very similar character arc to Vegeta, where his idea of Saiyan pride evolves and grows as he's interacting with Goku and Vegeta. Vegeta has a huge impact on him too, but like Goku and Vegeta both together sort of impact his idea of what Saiyan pride is. So this was a great way to end off his character arc, and I really like how they are nodding at his similarities to Broly as well. Like, I really like the idea that Broly and Cumber have parallels to one another, because Dragon Ball Super Broly is he's a good boy, and Cumber is literally called the evil Saiyan. So I just like the idea that there's like parallels there because it's just super cool. They're both buff. They're both big savage Saiyans, and you know, it's just the idea that they would meet one day is also really cool. I'd really also like to see Broly, the good version of Broly, and Cumber meet. I just would really love to see that. But yeah, this Tournament of Power ending that they chose to go with for this chapter of Super Dragon Ball Heroes and this episode of Super Dragon Ball Heroes was really cool. It was really fitting for the aesthetic because the tournament the entire time has had this Super Dragon Ball Heroes feel, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this little section of Super Dragon Ball Heroes. I may talk about Heroes more later on my channel, but I really wanted to talk about this episode just because of the cool symbolism behind Ultra Instinct Goku and Super Saiyan 4 Goku facing each other. Ridiculously cool. I enjoy it so much, and there's a lot of subtle stuff like that in Heroes that I'll probably talk about at some point. But I just really wanted to talk about it because it's super cool. When you understand that, like, Dragon Ball is an allegory for martial arts, and they like to play on symbolism surrounding martial arts and Journey to the West and stuff like that, beneath the surface in this, like, cheeky way where it's like, oh, I see what you did there. It makes the show and, you know, even Super Dragon Ball Heroes, it makes everything, like Dragon Ball Super, the original Dragon Ball, Super Dragon Ball Heroes, it makes all of it that much more enjoyable because you can sort of see what they're nodding at, what they're hinting at whenever they do certain things. But anyway, that's going to be the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.